Hi, this is Robin Thomas with Living Well Connections, and I'm so thrilled to have Pooja Chilukuri here for an interview so you can get to know her and her passion for holistic health. Pooja is a nutritional therapy practitioner, a health coach, a wellness educator, and a published author, and she lives right here in North Carolina. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Meredith College, North Carolina, and a Master of Science degree from North Carolina State University. In 2010, Pooja switched her research focus from technology to health and wellness and trained as a nutritional therapy practitioner and a health coach. Pooja has also been a wellness educator since 2014 and teaches classes on a variety of topics such as digestive health, stress management, and inflammation control. Pooja's mission is to empower individuals to take charge of their health and prevent chronic illnesses from taking a toll. Welcome, Pooja. I'm so happy to hear you're here.
Oh, thank you, Robin, and thank you for that introduction.
Is just, we really connect on so many ways.
Yes.
And you and I are both so passionate about holistic health. But
Mhm.
I love because I switched from research to my wellness business.
Yeah.
I'd love to learn a little bit more about how you got interested in switching your career to health and wellness.
I think I think it was kind of an accident, actually. I just loved what I was doing in my world of research. So I was working for the semiconductor industry, and we were developing new technologies. And I worked with a team that I really loved. And going to work was like being with family. Like it was just a very close group. So I just would have never thought of leaving that world and that work. But in about 2003, my husband got really sick and he was diagnosed with a couple of autoimmune disorders. And you're not going to believe this, but I had no clue what that was back then because I hadn't really heard of it as much. I just lived in my little world, and when that hit us, it just sent me on a path of like just trying to figure things out, trying to study and research. And while I was doing that for him, I developed a couple of conditions that no matter how many rounds of medications I went through, I had reactive airways that was chronic. I had chronic hives. And, with both of us being so sick all the time, it just became really hard to manage everything. And the
Wow.
kids were very young, very young. And for him, it was even worse because his whole body was crippled with pain. And it wasn't rheumatoid. They gave us a diagnosis for psoriatic arthritis. I had
Ah,
never heard of it,
that's
and I was
so
like,
painful. That's so painful. My brother-in-law has psoriatic arthritis. Yeah.
yes. And well, not we were so young, and growing up, I had this notion, and I realized it was just a fantasy. I used to think that people just don't get sick until they're like in their 70s, and they get sick and they die. Like that was my idea of life, I guess. But I never thought that young people could get sick. I
Mhm.
just didn't see anybody sick around. I was very fortunate, growing up. So it just hit me, and it was like very shocking, Robin. We were 30, so
Wow.
it's nothing. So I
That's
just
supposed to be the prime of your life when you're out active and getting
right, not being
do
crippled
everything.
in bed with pain.
Right. Not being in bed.
And
Yeah.
it would just break my heart because our kids were very young and he couldn't do the things he wanted to do with them, like play, outdoor sports or just little things.
Hmm.
And I also couldn't help him much because of my own situation where I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't breathe like all day long.
Oh, wow.
And I remember being through 3 rounds of medication. And finally, the fourth one, when it stopped working, I was at the doctor's office and he said to me, he's a wonderful, I love him. He's still my physician, But he said to me, he said, all medicines will do that. Your body develops like a tolerance to it, and sooner or later, they may quit working. And that's when my light bulb moment happened. I realized that, oh, this isn't nothing, and it's not going to cure me, you know. I'm just going to
Mhm.
be running around chasing one, trying one medicine, then another and another. And I felt powerless and very scared. I remember that day thinking, and you know, you can't be that way forever because you'll drive yourself
Oh
crazy.
no.
And so I needed to find a way to get that power back. And I thought, you know, intuitively, I just figured that there's something in my lifestyle or my diet. There's something we must be doing wrong. That's what I thought. Because, you know, there's plenty of people that are healthy. So why us? You know, and so I
Right.
started looking for some answers. And then I took to the internet and trying to research, and I drove myself nuts because there was such conflicting information
Oh
about
man.
everything.
I can identify with that. That's exactly my reaction when my son was so sick, is to get on the internet, and it was scary.
It's
It
scary
was,
because
yeah,
one day something gives you cancer, the next day that's the same thing that cures you, you know. So
right.
I just realized at that point in my life that I couldn't do it all. So I had to leave the job that I loved so much. And I decided that instead of that, I was going to go and try to get a formal training in nutrition because something was telling me that maybe if I start putting the right things in my body, or, you know, I just intuitively knew that I had to begin there.
Mhm.
And that's when I switched and studied nutritional therapy. So that's kind of
Wonderful.
how I got into it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's so many people I talk to who are interested in holistic health and become practitioners. So many people, it's because of a very personal story,
Yeah.
that they found that the regular allopathic ways on their own are
Yeah.
not working for them.
Yeah.
I do both,
Yeah.
but
I do
absolutely,
too. We
but
do
they need to work
too.
together. They need
I
to work
mean, God, I know that my husband, you know, he's on some heavy duty medications, but,
together.
you know, having the nutrition piece, I can support his body while he's doing that. So
Exactly. Exactly. And I
that's,
hope he's doing much better.
yes,
Yes.
yes. I mean, yes, I'm knock on wood, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that, but you know, Robin, when I studied nutritional therapy, I didn't do it to be in business as a health coach or a nutritionist. I just wanted to study it to help him and myself. But I met so many people in that program, and that's when I realized that the problem was way beyond just my family. And these people had come for their children, even
Oh,
younger than
wow.
us,
Yeah.
you know? So that's when my light bulb went on that I have to do something with this that's just not just limited to us. And that's when I decided to do the wellness education classes.
That's great. You just have such a passion in helping others. And
Thank you.
speaking of that passion of helping others, I'd love to know, and I know our audience would love to know how you do work. Someone wants to work with you. How do you work with your clients, and how are you able to help them?
Yes, of course. So, you know, the nutritional therapy piece, that's a little bit different from like a regular nutritionist, what they would do.
Yeah.
If you have a medical condition, you know, then I would say definitely go to a nutritionist, and they have the expertise and the training to deal with that. But oftentimes, the people that I work with, they don't have a medical diagnosis, but they feel horrible. You know, sometimes they have symptoms that they keep going back to the doctor, and the doctor says everything is fine. Your lab work is fine, everything is okay. So then it's time, I think, okay, let's look at your nutritional deficiencies.
Right.
Let's see, because nutritional deficiencies, if they go unchecked for a long time, they can create symptoms that look like disease, but it isn't really, or at least it doesn't have a label yet. You know?
Right. Or it can get your body totally unbalanced.
Yes.
Your
And
system
yep.
unbalanced.
And for me, it's not just the deficiencies. I also look at their digestion, because if
Mhm.
you're not digesting, then you know you're not getting, you may be eating the best diet, but if you're not digesting and absorbing, then you're not getting the nutrients you need. And it's kind of ironic, like for me, it was eye-opening that, you know, to think of a country or a culture where we have so much food around us, how can we be nutritionally deficient? You know, it's not intuitive, or doesn't make sense. But it can happen because of a lot of the calories we eat are empty calories.
Correct.
They're not nutritionally dense foods. So when I work with someone, the first thing I do is do an assessment and see where they are with their vitamins, minerals, fats. How is their hydration status? Are they hydrated? Because it's so easy, but just not drinking enough water can create a bunch of symptoms that are very troubling. Low energy, headaches. I had a person I worked with one time that he was on medication for migraine. And it was just that drinking water helped him, but he didn't know that. We worked together and we were like, oh, you're not drinking enough water. So it's so simple, doing the assessment, I look at if there are any weaknesses in any of the organs that help you regulate your blood sugars. So liver, gallbladder, pancreas, the whole digestive system. Just working to see what food or nutrient would help you to support that. Because no two people are alike. So let's say you and I both have diarrhea. I'm just picking the common ones that I have.
Oh, thank you.
That I have. Sorry.
I really wanted that today.
I thought of that because some of the people I work with, that's a common symptom that people have come to me for. But even though we both have the same symptom, we're not going to have the same root cause for it. And this is where it gets a little bit like you have to really tune into the person's chemistry and get lots and lots of data. I do that through like a questionnaire, and I do some hands-on assessment. And then we try to figure out what food or supplement, if you choose, would work to relieve that situation. Sometimes, and sometimes it's a one session, and then people are like, oh, I get it. But sometimes people come back 3 or 4 sessions because sometimes it takes a little bit more to troubleshoot them.
Yeah, I could see you find maybe a core issue, and that helps them get a little bit better. But it can
right
work on something else too.
And when that happens, if we get to a point like that, that's when I have to do a deep dive into their food journals, have them write down everything they eat. We look at food combinations. We look at how they may be hurting themselves, or how we could work things out to relieve some symptoms. So that's pretty much what to expect for my one-on-one sessions. But I also teach classes and group coaching, so that's different.
Okay, good. Yeah. And I'm sure we will post actually your website, right? And do you have your classes on your website that you show?
I don't have them listed on there yet, but it's on my Facebook page.
Okay, well, we'll list all those links too under this video. That'd be great, so people can find you.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know, it just sounds like you're really helping people. I'd love to know what's your very favorite part of your business.
Oh my goodness. That's a hard one because, I know you'd know this because we just love everything that we're doing, right?
Exactly.
But I think if I had to choose it, I think it's when I'm doing the one-on-one coaching, and I see like there's a lot of light bulb moments happen, not just for the people I work with. Sometimes it's for me too. Because I learn a lot from just listening to people. And I think just being able to give them simple solutions, and like we were talking about earlier, right? Chew your food, drink more water, little things like that.
Little habits can make a huge difference.
Yeah. In the part that I love about that is when it actually makes a big difference, and it's hard, their mouth's like wide open, like really the stuff works. So, Robin, I think my favorite part would be letting people know how much power they have. Like when we're working together and they see the changes, I do a measurement in the beginning and one after, and they actually see the numbers going down for whatever we measured their symptoms. And so that helps them to know that, yes, there is power in making these lifestyle changes. And it's not just...
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. So
I have found that people sometimes, they often don't realize how much better they feel because it comes slowly.
Yeah.
Unless they have serious symptoms, but if they're just like feeling a little off,
yes,
they notice they feel better, but they don't realize how much better unless you actually write them down at the beginning and then look at the end, the
And
symptoms.
then look at, and then you compare it, and then
Yeah,
you
compare
see.
it and say, hey,
Yeah,
4 weeks ago you were saying this. Yeah.
yeah. And also, I think what happens is when you're working with someone and you over and over seeing them, you develop friendships, right? Like that's, in that I think is very precious. Yeah.
Community.
Yes.
Absolutely. Develop
Yeah.
community, which
Yeah.
is wonderful, which is why I started Living Well Connections, because
Yes.
community
Yep.
is so important. And if you're watching this and you don't know what Living Well Connections is, I gathered, because my son's illness, I gathered together practitioners I trusted, and you got to know and trust, and they become friends. And now we get together, and I have speakers come for luncheons locally, but there's also access to all these practitioners and other people on Facebook, on a Facebook group. So I think it's wonderful to, we fit together like a wonderful puzzle,
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
hand in hand. Well, thank you so much, Pooja. Let's find out how people can best reach you. Just if you verbally tell us just one or two ways to reach you, and then I definitely, you sent me some links that I'm gonna post right under this video.
Yes.
Um,
So,
so what's the best way to reach you? What's your favorite
yes,
way?
of course. Email is great. It's my first name, pooja.chilukuri@gmail.com. Calling is fine too. It's 919-964-0363. And LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook. I have my nutrition page and
Okay,
um,
well, I will post those links so people can reach out to
yep,
you, because you're
absolutely.
great. You're very valuable. I have another question thinking of that, because some people I talk to only work locally, and you live in North Carolina, and some people work virtually anywhere. How
Yes.
about you?
I can do, of course, I have worked with people overseas.
Hmm.
And so I would be, totally fine doing it over Skype or Zoom or
Okay, good.
the assessment, the hands-on piece can also be done online. It's kind of two pieces to it. There's an online questionnaire and the hands-on, but I am able to do a lot of the assessment online as well. So,
Right. So obviously it wouldn't be the same as being able to meet you in person, because
right.
I'm
I
sure there's a
wouldn't,
lot you can pick up
yes.
that's
In
going
that,
on with someone. Yeah.
that's true because when it's in person, I can dial in a little bit more with the
Hmm.
foods that I can test. I do it something called lingual neural testing. So it's
Hmm.
on through their tongue. But online, what I can do is I can guide them with the food journal and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yep.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You don't have anyone coming up to the camera and sticking their tongue out at you. No.
No.
That would be funny. That would be Well, thank you so much. This has been an absolutely delightful. And please get in touch with Pooja. If you, I mean, even right away, just get in touch with her on Facebook and check out what she's sharing there. And, if you have any questions at all, I'm sure she'd be happy to hear from you by email or phone, and be able to help you right away. And then also feel free to join Living Well Connections, because Pooja's on there, and I love to see
Oh,
her great information. And it's just a fun group. It's just a
yes,
fun
it
group,
is.
and it doesn't have to be local. I mean, we do meet locally, but it's an international group. So people are on there from all sorts. In fact, I think I just got 2 new people come on and said they came on because of you.
Oh my goodness.
So great. You never know.
Thank you.
So take care and be well. This is, again, Robin Thomas with Living Well Connections. And
Thank you,
Pooja
Robin.
oh, you're going to have to say it. It didn't come out.
You're doing just fine, Chilukuri. Yeah.
I can say it perfectly
It's
when I'm
been
not on video.
I've been called chili curry before, so I'll
Okay.
take anything. Take it, Robin.
Take care.
You too. Bye.